Hey everyone, welcome to Dad Life, Real Life with me, Kendall Kennedy, your host. And today's my first episode. The first episode will be titled um, "The Art of Balancing Fatherhood and Personal Hobbies." So, as most of you guys may know, being a father is hard. It's one of the greatest things you could ever experience in life, in my opinion. And I'm just not gonna knock to anybody who doesn't have kids, who do, or who someone who don't want kids. But for me, I feel like I was made to be a dad. I currently, I can have no longer have any kids. I'll take care of that. But I have three kids. All right, I have my oldest, Naomi. My middle child is Naya, and then my son is Nolan. And me and my wife had our kids relatively young. Um, I think when we had Naomi, I was just turned 24 because we got married when I was 23, and then that 2014. So yeah, I just turned 24 when I had my first child, and during that time, I was working for a delivery company, as most of y'all know, the big brown trucks. Um, and being a freshly new married couple with a newborn and working that kind of schedule was really, really tough. Some days I wasn't getting home till almost like 10 o'clock at night. Um, and being a first time mom, even for my wife, was hard. We chose to breastfeed. Actually, we breastfed all three kids, but particularly Naomi was the first kid that was breastfed, and with that came challenges. So with today's topic, with balancing fatherhood and personal hobbies and things like that, I will be discussing a little bit of my story, how I found balance, especially working that kind of job in it up until now, and maybe hopefully I can help give you guys some tips and pointers, and maybe as a community, we can share some of our tips. You know, you can share some of your tips and things to help other dads who are trying to find this balance. All right, so being a fresh new dad at the time, the PS4 was out, and when my wife was pregnant, she helped me pay it off, which was great. Now, with that being said, um, working almost 11-hour shifts Monday through Friday during Christmas time, it was 6 days a week, so you only get like one true day off. But even then, that time frame, you took that one day off to try to recoup to go back to work the following day. So for me personally, I was having a really hard time with my own identity, um, trying to figure out who I was, not only as a dad, but just as a person. Because leading up to being married and being a father, you are who you are. There's no set rules and regulations and um, responsibilities per se. Besides the minimum. Washing yourself, brushing your teeth, paying your bills, that kind of thing. But now you have two. Some people may have multiple people that depend on them. And you know, coming home on Friday nights, Friday night into Saturday night, um, you just want to come home and not be bothered, right? You're tired. Your wife's like, here's a kid. I dealt with them all day, and at the same time, you're like, I need to decompress. Um, so what does that look like? You know, for the majority of people um, who actually go through this, it's very frustrating. Especially you're not trying to put any more pressure on your partner, but at the same time, you still trying to find a sense of belonging for yourself because now all you do is work, pay bills, come home, take care of the family, and also step in with sorry about that. Step in with I'm sorry, take care of the bills, and now you don't have a chance to have your own hobbies, right? You don't have your own chance to have your downtime and still have me time to be who you need to be for your family. So a lot of times there's a lot of arguments. There's a lot of I would say the meaningless arguments in the sense of nobody gets down to the root issue, which is I need me time to be a better partner and father for you and our child. So in the beginning, it was really rough. We was butting heads a lot. Because one, at the time I didn't know what I needed. All I know I needed was me. right? I need to somehow find, an hour or two out the day to really hone in on just doing something fun that's takes really no brain activity. Just kind of just unwind. Because in that meantime, while I'm unwinding, I can think about life. I can think about, my next move as a husband and father, and other things that can help the family. So it was rough. It was definitely rough. Um, but in the same sentence, you know, I think that little rough patch helped you redirect what's really important. You know, because for me personally, I started to realize, hey, my wife does need help. I know she needs help, but how can I bring this up to her so we're all on the same page? So when I need some time, it's not gonna come off as, me, 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 me. And I think one night we just sat down and just talked, like, hey, listen, like, I understand, you're with the kids Monday through Friday. Well, at the time, he was, with Naomi Monday through Friday. Um, but for me, I'm working in all elements: rain, sleet, snow. It's cold outside. When I get home, I would love to help you, but I need some downtime for myself, just so I can be mentally, you know, in the right mindset to tackle on whatever need me to tackle on. So, what I would need is, if I when I come home, could I get maybe 45 minutes when I come home? Let me shower, let me, get myself together. Then I can help you out with whoever you need to help out. In that meantime, I'll, find some downtime. I might take a longer shower. You know, I might try to catch like throw on some ESPN and catch the sports for the day or something in the meantime. And then as Naomi got a little older, that turned into, hey, boom, Minnie's down for a nap. Cool. I'm gonna go ahead and hop on the game. Or while she had, Naomi, I'll play the game. And within that, while doing so, while I'm playing the game, she'll be in the same room sitting next to me. And we're still talking about, I'm doing something, I'm enjoying. We're having a conversation, so everyone's getting something. And at the same time, I'm getting some me time, right? I'm not doing too much. I'm not here. I'm not there. I chose to play the game. She's allowing me to play the game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no fights. We're good. You know. Um, Also, I started hitting the gym. Always been into like the health conscious mindset, but there's another hobby that I picked up as well, to not only uh, take care of my health, but more in the lines of, I needed something to do outside the house. Now, I don't want nobody out here thinking, hey, this guy out here doing everything he wants to do. What about his wife, right? My wife would be the first one to tell you. I will always tell her to do something. Please do something. Hey, if you got something to do, get out the house. Bye. See you later. We love you. The kids will survive. I'll survive. We'll be good. All right. So I don't want nobody to think that. I always try to get my wife out the house as much. But in the beginning, she was very focused on being a mother. And she didn't want to leave her kid with anybody. So, and in later episodes we'll talk about that as well. But I also, like I said, I did a gym thing. And the way I did it was, I either hit the gym before work, um, which some people are like, why would you hit the gym before work? That's not really you time. But for me, I always woke up early. I never sleep in. My sleep in is maybe like 5:30, 6 o'clock, maybe 7. 9 o'clock is really pushing it. But for the most of the time, it's about 4 or 5 o'clock. Um, so I'll go to the gym, and I'll take that time within an hour, and that's just me. I'm focused on the weights. I'm focused on my technique. And afterwards I felt great. And then I also opened up the back door for when I got home at night. Whether it was at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, that now I'm more available for my wife and for my children, because I adjusted my life a little bit, and it made a compromise, because me personally, I never want to feel like I had to compromise family time, me time, and any other time, right? So I tried to look at the whole picture, see where I can fit my me time. And because at the end of the day, your kids didn't ask to be here, right? We created them. Now they're here, and I've always been an advocate for spending time with each kid individually, including my wife. And so I would take that very, very seriously. So when I'm thinking about my hobbies and how to fit me time in it, I'm taking all that into account. So not nobody in my house will feel uh, less than, like, dad spending more time with them than me. Each one of my kids always get a direct time with me, whether it's watching TV, playing video games. As a unit, we love playing Fortnite. We quad up. We got a couple dubs ourselves. Or like the other day, we watched the new Spider-Man on Disney Plus because we're a big Spider-Man fan in this house. So that's one of my big things. So whenever you guys also hear me talk about me time, I'm also factoring my family time as well into my hobbies. Sometimes my personal hobbies is, you know, I just want to be around my family. Nothing else. The kids will come pile on top of me on the couch. They be doing whatever. They might be on their tablets. They might be watching whatever. You got the switches, so they might be playing the switch next to me, whatever the case may be. But sometimes my personal hobby is just being around the children, you know, watching them play the game, kind of just be inside their world and understand how they're thinking, seeing what the things they see, try to understand the things they like. So when they tell me about it, I'm engaging with them, you know. Um, so some of the practical tips for finding time, like I said, sometimes you just got to sit down and really focus in. How important is spending time with each of your family members are. And as fathers, some of us don't think about everyone individually because there's a lot going on, right? And then a lot of times we lose ourselves. We forget about ourselves. A lot of us wake up early in the morning, and work a blue collar job. You know, a lot of us are truck drivers or were truck drivers and over the road and or working 12 plus hour days and getting home late at night. Some of us are white collars and we'll just work long hours in the office. Some of us have a lot of meetings to do. A lot of us have a lot of responsibilities within our corporate jobs. Also, we also have a responsibility in our houses to be present for our kids and for our wives. With all that being said, don't lose yourself. That's the key component that I want to make sure everyone understands. Don't lose yourself because your wife, your wife or your partner, your kids, and everyone else are depending on you, right? Your kids are watching you, how you navigate life. If you have sons and daughters, they're also going to watch how you maneuver and how you find time for yourself. Because when they get older and get in relationships and start having families, all they can refer back to is what mom and dad did. How did dad navigate this aspect of his life? I don't have that luxury, unfortunately, to uh, I guess you can say. Uh, I mean, we can get into this in later episodes, but I don't have that luxury to contact my dad, right? That's a whole different conversation for another day. But um, but growing up, I used to watch my family and how they maneuver, and some of that, you know, coming into a relationship, obviously probably was toxic. We can talk about that also in a later episode. But one thing I know my dad always did uh, was always found time for himself. And my mom made it very, very clear, especially that when my dad used to love playing Madden. So whenever my dad was playing the game, that's his time. She was very advocate about that. Like your dad need his time to decompress from his work week. And as a kid, because the dynamic was different back then, you never really understood certain why your parents did certain things, especially, my dad used to play Madden for hours on end. Like, hey, let's go outside and play catch, man. Um, Now, I'm in the middle of a game. But as you got older and I actually worked the same job that he actually did, I understood why he was locked in so much, especially with the job being so physical, very mentally draining. And then you got to come home and also raise your family. Me personally, growing up and seeing that, I realized I wanted to be more present for my kids, whether um, no matter how many hours I work. So I still show up to all the practices. I showed up to all the competitions, all the doctor's appointments, even when they was babies. Certain ones I did miss that wasn't like detrimental, but like the big ones, the first ones, the growth ones, I was always there. So I always made it very known that I'm here. You know, kids know who I am. You know what I look like, and they know Dad's going to show up. And whenever now that they're older, and when I tell my kids now, like, hey, I love you guys. Like sorry, previously for the last couple of weeks they've been sick, and I'm off on Wednesday and Thursday, which is in the middle of the week. So the last 3 to 4 weeks, everybody been home. Either I had two kids or one kid, and then my wife ended up being sick. So usually my days off is my days where I decompress from everybody. Love my family, love my children, but they are for sure very touchy, lovey people, and that is completely fine. I'm just not that kind of person, but for them, I am. And no matter what kind of mood I'm in, if I'm super tired or super drained physically and mentally, they know they can always love on Dad, right? But at a certain point, I have my limits. Just like I explained to them, I'm a human being, and I have to recoup my energy so I can be there for them and for their needs, right? So in that downtime where I have to, like, I physically feel like I have to decompress just from everything and everybody because now I'm feeling overstimulated. Especially now, I'll jump on a game. I might read a book. Shoot, now that I'm 35, I'm considered an unk. I'm taking a nap. I'm not fighting these naps no more. You know what, guys? I'm going in the room, taking a nap. Hey, if your brother gets hungry, make him a sandwich. Like, now my hobby is a little different, but I still make time for myself. And the great thing is, me and my family always communicate. So it's never a moment in the house where they don't know this is Dad's time, or the other day, me and my son was playing Fortnite together. That was me and him time. And sometimes I'll combine my personal time with everyone else's time, meaning like, hey, you know, I don't feel like doing nothing right now. I don't feel like doing having any responsibilities. So I might ask one of my kids, like, hey, yo, you trying to watch the TV show with me? Or, you trying to play the game? Or, hey, go ahead and take over the TV and I'll watch whatever you want to watch. You know what I mean? So sometimes my hobbies will flip flop it or uh, kind of fit in with everyone else's. But for the most part, I always find time for myself. I always make it very known that I need time for myself, right? I'll even tell my wife, like, hey, excuse me, I'm feeling a little overstimulated, or like I like right now, I just need some time, maybe like 30, 40 minutes of kind of just like nothingness, and I think communication is one of the key parts, especially as men, that we don't really do well. But if you want to make sure that nobody's offended by you taking your time, you have to communicate this. Yeah, you have to communicate, and you have to communicate it in the way they're going to receive it. Right? You can't come off straight out of work, busting through the front door saying, "Hey, I need an hour and a half. Don't bother me." You can't say it like that. You know what I mean? You gotta say you gotta talk to them soft. You know what I mean? Like, hey, and sometimes they're going to get offended. You can't help that, And just like I tell my family, sometimes I say things and it may rub them the wrong way, and I'm sorry that what I said may have offended them, and that wasn't my intentions. Sometimes I got to say that, and sometimes when I come off that, I need to decompress, and I just need to you know find time for me. My wife would tell me like, hey, that sounded kind of mean, kind of rude, and I'll apologize. I have no shame in apologizing. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna like I was overstimulated. I needed to decompress, and I'm sorry that I was a little snippy with you. Apologize. Cool. Main thing is always communicate about what exactly you want to do, what you need. Especially being a father, there's a lot of times we don't say what we need, and then we crack, and then people come to find out it's like, oh, he was dealing with a lot. We have to start communicate. We have to. And don't start off with a 2 hour hobby session. You know what I mean? Start off with about, I'll say, anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes pockets, depending on how's your lifestyle set up, and how your family structure is as well. Um, Even if you're co-parenting, the days you don't have the kids, obviously you could probably double dive into the hobbies, or the days you do have the kids, you might want to find a hobby that you're able to do while they're taking a nap, or while it's your weekend, you know. Um, so again, the thing about it is communication. Um, Sometimes, like I said, you might have to do an early morning sesh at the gym. Um, you might have to involve your kids. Like sometimes, like I'm gonna have to get the workout in at the house, so I got kettlebells. You know what I mean? And I just work out with the kids. We'll put on a YouTube, we'll find a YouTube video, and then we'll just start working out together. I'm so able to enjoy my hobby. My kids get to enjoy it with me. And also that's building a bonding period. You know what I mean? Like that's something they're always going to remember. As they get older, and when they have kids, like remember the time when dad used to work out at the house. Like to them, they just it seems to them this is nothing. You know what I mean? This is just every day. It's something that we do. But for me, I'm building a foundation. I'm building a bond. This unknowingly to them, to the point where when they get older, they're gonna realize, oh snap! Like all the little things Dad was doing, even when he was super tired, and he still found time to include me in his hobbies. That was important. Because that was his time, and he still chose to bring me into it. So, and then you start get comfortable, and you start, flowing the way you need to flow within your family structure when you need to find time. You know how to talk to them when you need that downtime, you need to decompress. You know what I mean? So I would definitely so moving forward, um, for this particular one, I would say start off with 10 to 30 minute pockets. All right. Um, and if you don't know what hobbies you're into, hey, as a community, I think we should all list all the hobbies we love to do, or list hobbies that are easy to get into, that is not really too much time constraint for people, and go from there. And then just start picking and choosing what hobbies you think you might like to enjoy. And if you like playing video games, maybe as a community we can get together and start gaming together on certain days and things like that. Or we can find, or you can find your person that you can game with around the same time that you're free. Um, so I would say, and then again, if you don't know what hobbies, or just make a list yourself. Make a list of 10 hobbies you always wanted to do. Whether it's like collect comic books, go to a comic book store, watch anime. Maybe want to start deep diving more anime. Maybe read some mangas, um, or even just pick up a new skill. Especially with this whole AI situation going on. Now's the time, I think, to start picking up on some skills about AI. Maybe you saw a little side business. Learning something new about 3D printing. You never know. So, with all that being said, I just want to wrap up and say I just appreciate you guys listening in on my first podcast. Again, this is your boy Kendall, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.